Hello and good afternoon. Uh, Welcome. Let's see. Excuse me. Let's get to the browser. Yes, welcome. Happy Friday. For anyone who is new, hasn't watched the stream before, now my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord. This is the Deep Dive, which is weekly live stream that we do here on the Adafruit channel. It was started by Scott Shawcroft, the lead developer of CircuitPython. He is currently out for parental leave, so I am filling in on the Deep Dive here. So it's a weekly live stream where we get into kind of the nitty-gritty of CircuitPython. As the lead developer, Scott's always working on cutting-edge stuff, whatever is up and coming in the CircuitPython world. I tend to work a little bit higher level at the application level or libraries or infrastructure bits that surround the project, although we do occasionally venture into the core some as well when I am around, but not quite as deep as when Scott's here. If you want to learn more about CircuitPython, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the stream obviously centers around CircuitPython development. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to circuitpython.org. It is, if you don't know anything about it, I'll give you the quick version, which is that it's a version of Python that is designed to run on tiny computers called microcontrollers. Typically, the way this works, you plug these devices into your regular computer, your PC, with a USB cable. It shows up like a thumb drive. You can edit a Python code file on that thumb drive, and when you save it, the microcontroller, the actual computer that's in these little chips, will interpret and execute the Python code for you. CircuitPython is just one of the ways that you can program microcontrollers. There are lots of other ways as well, but CircuitPython is what we work on this stream. Let me close this real quick. What is this one also? That one we can keep. That doesn't matter. Let me check one thing. Let's see. Live that way, hopefully. Oh, there it goes. I think it's because I wasn't watching it. It wasn't updating or something. I don't know, it might be out of date as well. I was looking at one of my previews and it was a bit behind, but I think actually we're okay. 1 second though. We do need to do maybe this real fast. There we go. Okay. Yes, that's what CircuitPython is all about. That's what we are working on here. Specifically today, I do have the FruitJam prototype device, which is upcoming piece of hardware. It's not released yet, but it's in the works. And I am working on some FruitJam OS stuff, the sort of desktop, sort of like what you call it. Like an early all-in-one sort of computer combined with a game system as well, kind of like Commodore, in the vein of Commodore 64 mashed up with Nintendo, but also kind of DIY, build it yourself, write your own software for it, do whatever you want with it. And as always, we'll say thanks to Adafruit if you want to help support CircuitPython development. And those of us that work on CircuitPython, including both Scott and myself, one of the easiest ways to do it is purchase hardware from Adafruit.com. They pay the folks who work on the project. There are a team of folks who work on it full time, working on CircuitPython and surrounding stuff. There are also folks who work on it part time, and there are loads of folks who do some CircuitPython and some other, Arduino and other stuff for Adafruit. And huge thanks to them as always for paying software developers to work on open source software. I think that's really awesome of them, obviously. And huge thanks to everyone who purchases hardware from them, because that is how they make money, which allows them to do what they do in funding open source software. So diving in today, I want to show you, first thing is something submitted by community member, Retired Wizard is excited for FruitJam launch and made a sort of PyDOS FruitJam app that you can navigate your files using a DOS-like interface. So right now I am actually in the editor. Let me break out to the desktop, actually. One of the things I need to work on at some point... Oh, actually, that's a bit awkward. Oh, no, that was in the editor that I did that. Okay, so one thing we're going to want is to make the mouse optional. Right now I have the mouse here. I can move it around. The one that's on the FruitJam. This is connected right now to this USB keyboard, which happens to be all-in-one. It has a mouse with a touchscreen there. Although I clicked the button, and so now we are inside of Snake. It's a button. It's going to run into the wall so that we lose. Go to quit. That will take us back to here. Okay, so I have the mouse, but right now the way it works, the mouse actually disables the keyboard. So I'm pressing the D-pad, arrows, and nothing's happening. The enter key, nothing happens. Control-C, nothing happens. So because I have this combo device, I actually can't use both at the same time. The code is kind of detaching the keyboard from the kernel, which means that system.in is not getting key presses, but the mouse works. So I think that's a deeper thing that's going to require, if it can be possible at all, it's going to require some work inside CircuitPython core. But in the OS, in the launcher, I think what I want to do is just make a toggle to where you can say like disable or enable mouse, and then if you have a combo device, you can kind of choose which one you want to do. And if you have both, because there are two USB ports, obviously, then you can put one keyboard, one mouse, and then you can use both. But it would be cool someday if it's possible to support doing both at once. The snake colors are spot on. Hadn't noticed that before. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the snake is a fun one. I made this one originally a while ago for a conference badge for Katney. I think she went to PyCon or one of the other conferences and had a conference badge with some CircuitPython demos, and I made this snake game as one of them to help show off that device in CircuitPython. Okay, so PyDOS is right here, and again, this was made by Retired Wizard, who's a community member. You can find them on Discord and GitHub. If you hang out around the CircuitPython repos, then that name may be familiar to you. I don't know why. Oops, I don't know why this resized itself. My OBS window here is real finicky about the size. So I have the FruitJam connected up to a capture card, and that's what we're seeing here. So this would be output onto the display the FruitJam is plugged into. It's got an HDMI port, so you would plug this into a screen, and this is what you would see. I just have it in a capture card so that I can get it onto my into my desktop computer here so that we can see it on the stream. And what this does for folks who are not familiar with it is it's like a DOS prompt, and it should have a help command. I think maybe we need a shouty, and actually I probably need to update it. Yeah, so let's take a brief detour real fast because I need the latest version. The help command was just added in the latest version. There's a few other commands. We could go look at the code as well to figure out what they are. But the latest one does actually have a help command. So I'm going to update this main branch, and then I'm going to build FruitJam OS. So FruitJam OS is its own repo here. FruitJam OS for anyone who wants to get in on the action. Inside of that, there's a build script right there, build py. When you run that, it will generate the dist folder. All right, reconnection successful, my OBS says, so hopefully that won't be too terrible. Don't necessarily have a way to get that out to everybody, but I'll put a message there in the Discord letting folks know to try refresh if it's getting frozen or whatever. Back now. Sweet. Okay. Back on the YouTube and Twitch. Nice, thank you. All right, and perfect timing as well. This is done building. So I don't know exactly where it cut me off, but basically I ran the build script here. It generates all these different zips. We're going to take one of them, and we're going to put that on the device. Actually, I already have, so it's got, actually, let me slow down for a minute and tell you about this stuff. I don't think FruitJam OS, I think maybe I've worked on it a little bit, but not really explained that much about it. There is going to be a learn guide, which is in the works, and there's going to be more documentation and stuff as the actual hardware comes out, but for now I'll give you kind of the quick version. So inside FruitJam OS, once you make the build, you choose what language you want. There's fonts embedded for a bunch of different languages. So I've done English US here. You unzip it, and what you get is a bunch of different things. So CodePy, this contains the launcher. That screen we were looking at before with the 6 icons and the mouse. We could go through and click on which one we want. The boot animation, which I won't show right now, but it's like the FruitJam letters and the apple. We've seen it on the stream before. And actually, a Learn Guide just went live today. Shameless plug, there's a new Learn Guide out for startup screens, which includes all about the boot up animation. So if you want to learn about FruitJam boot animation, hit the Learn system, check out the new guides. There's a startup screen one that covers that. Boot.py, it has a couple of special things in it, which are for the OS, for like launching back into the editor if need be, and also handling the read and write state of the actual storage drive. So I'll open BootPy here. All of this stuff will get explained in more detail later on, but basically it's going to check for arguments, which the arguments will let you mount as writable if you want. The arguments will also let you specify what code you should launch, what app you should launch inside FruitJam OS. If you don't supply an app, then it will launch the boot animation next, and after the boot animation, it will launch the desktop. But if you do supply your own app, then it will just go straight from BootPy into whatever you want. So you get those 3 Python files, you get a lib folder that's packed with all the libraries you need, you get the assets for the launcher. Those are cool, but not that cool, I guess. You get your font. And again, so we chose English US right now, so my font here is got that character set in, and if you choose one of the other ones, you could get a different font file. Boot animation stuff, those are the images and audio file for the boot animation. And then perhaps where most of the fun is at, inside the apps folder, you get all the different apps that are bundled with the OS, which right now are mostly the Metro Learn Guides that we have put out so far. The Metro Learn Guides, while we did launch them on Metro devices, and they're documented and everything with Metro, once the FruitJam comes out, we'll go back through and be, all of these things essentially were made with FruitJam in mind as well. And so those are all built in, like the Snake Game, Flappy, Nyan Cat, Chips Challenge that Melissa made, Breakout that Anne made. There's a couple of different ones. And then now PyDOS is here as well. And the editor is built in too. We were in the editor for a minute there. So I'm going to update PyDOS because there is a new version, like I was saying a little while ago. And when you're first loading FruitJam OS, you would just copy all of this stuff to your device. So you could copy all of these over to your CircuitPy drive, and then that will, load FruitJam OS for you. In my case, I already have basically everything on there. I just want the latest version of PyDOS, so I'm going to just delete that and do it only so that we don't have to wait for the rest of the stuff to copy. And then I can relaunch it, and then we can see the help command and look at some of the other stuff. This has like resized itself again. Oh, also my BootPy. One thing I'm going to do is in my BootPy, I'm actually going to go and do auto reload off. My computer has this cool thing where it I guess is like writing to the drive at times when this is actually already set to off. Interesting. Okay, hold on. Did that crash? Maybe we missed it. Is there an exception? Oh, mouse. Let's see. Wait, is that old? That's old. Okay, let me just launch it again. Here we go. I don't know why it restarted last time. Anyway, doesn't matter. Here we are. Okay, so help. It's the new command. Tells us all the different commands you run. So, all the different commands you can run, I should say. I'm going to resize this, even though it's going to go back to that in a few minutes. And these are from old school DOS, which the first computer that I used was actually DOS, but I didn't, like, really the only things I knew how to do on it were, like, turn it on and launch Doom. So I had a little bit of DOS, but it was like CD to the place where Doom was, and then launch Doom, and that was like basically what I knew how to do in DOS. But Retired Wizard has PyDOS here, which is like a subset of DOS. You can do sort of shell stuff, so like dir, that's one of the ones that I do know. This will list all the files for you. You can, target other directories as well, so we can say dir lib. We'll look inside of there for us. You can do, so this is a good example. We have more than one page worth, so you can do, is it dir, I think, /p? That's the right one. I think it's, oops, we need to do actually dir lib, I guess, because my root is kind of small right now. I don't actually have that many files at the root of my drive. -p lib. Nope. Okay, maybe I did it wrong. Anyway, or maybe it's not long enough. That's possible as well. There's a paging thing as well in there, I saw. Slash question mark. Let's see. Slash question mark for help commands, or any slash commands for arguments. I don't know, actually. I don't think it can do... So help is like a high level one. I don't think there is built in... Like, I don't think you can do help dir or anything like that yet. Or I don't know if that's planned. I shouldn't say yet, because I have no idea if that's planned. But that might be cool. But what you totally can do is just go look in the code. Which is what I did the first time around. I think, so maybe it needs to be it might need to be a little p, and or it's also possible that it's like right on the edge and it doesn't actually page because there's not enough. That's my other guess. I think we could do the whole thing a little, see if it does it differently this time. Okay, I think it's like short enough that it's not paging. Which actually, bus device, that might be I think that might be the first one anyway. Yeah, oh, there's bitmap font. There might be an off by one error. Or maybe it's not counting these. Or there's like a blank line here too as well. Anyway. But that's really cool. There's also, you can write batch files and stuff. So there are like programming commands for batch files, sort of like basic-ish syntax, go to if, this sort of thing. Variables, all kinds of fun stuff. So if you used /s, expect them, let me catch up. Let's see. Expect them unused, so save your time for other bits. Unused for save your time for other bits. Oh, I gotcha. Here's to find /s and /p. Yeah, there are a couple of different ones in there. I actually don't know myself what everything does. I briefly tested this. And like I said before, I used DOS in the most basic sense. I never actually really like managed a computer per se with it. So I did learn QBasic. It was kind of like my first programming language. So some of the batch stuff is somewhat familiar. Okay, so this is cool. Check this out. If you use DOS or not, and you want to know what it was like, check this out. This is now in FreeJam OS. You can, of course, make the build just like I did. You can load it on a Metro RP2350 if you want. You can also just gank the app directly, right? You can just get PyDOS. It's got a CodePy file in it. You don't necessarily have to use the whole rest of the OS. If you don't want to, you can load these things one at a time as well. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I saw that actually earlier. Detailed, that's maybe where I first learned about the -p, actually. There are docs here. Yeah, totally. Originate. So you can grab that individually as well. It is in FruitJam OS repo right now. We may shuffle that around at some point, but that is where it lives right now. And huge thanks, by the way, Retired Wizard. That's really cool. Thank you for submitting that. I think people will get a kick out of this. Next, the next thing I want to start working on is in the FruitJam repo itself. I actually have this PR open, working on Release Updater, which is basically an actions thing. So I have BuildPy, which we ran before. There's also now, if we go to the right branch, there's also now a file called releaseupdater.py. IDE wants to be really slow for some reason about the file changes. I don't know what's up with this, but it takes it a minute. The fact that we have all the apps and the like it's a lot of subfolders and it's trying to like go through and look at everything every time I change this. Still, I don't know why it takes so long, but that's all right. Wait, I have no other choice. There it goes. Yeah, inside here now there's Release Updater. This one is ultimately, the intention for this one is going to be that it runs once a day inside GitHub Actions with like a cron thing. You can set it up to like run this task once a day, and it will check and try to see whether a new release is necessary. Because I have another action. There's a release GH action, pretty much the same way we do on libraries. Now, whenever we make a release, it will do a build and upload all of these things to it, just like we do for bundles and libraries and stuff, right? So Release Updater's intention is to like figure out whether we need a new release, figure out whether there's been any changes since the last release, and then determine if there needs to be a new one, and then if there does need to be a new one, it should make it eventually. Right now, it doesn't have any kind of making it at all. It's just the logic of trying to figure out whether we actually need a new one or not. And when I left it last, it wasn't working properly, so that's what we are going to start with right now. And I think the best way to go about that is going to be... I think we want to merge this first. I'm trying to think about the order that I do this in, because ultimately the actions, like we kind of have to test this inside of actions essentially. So we're in this spot where we need to get our code in order to be able to test it. And so I've temporarily swapped the build action to do the release updater. The release updater does a build, and the build action, the only purpose for it is just to make sure the build doesn't, to make sure the build works. Which we do on like libraries again as well. When you submit a PR to the library, it does a bunch of like checks. We use pre-commit for a bunch of them, but it does an MPY cross build as well. And if it fails that, then the GitHub action will stay red. This is the same thing, but I've swapped it to do that, so it will print a bunch of extra stuff out, and it makes a build as part of this, so it's still testing the same thing, but we'll swap it back eventually. So when I did set this down last, the approach I'm taking, I started trying to take at least, was download the zip files from the release assets, get the SHA-256 hashes for each of those zip files, and then make a build locally, and then get the SHA-256 hashes for the ones we made, and then compare them. And if any of the hashes are different, then we need to make a new build. It turns out it's a little more complex than that. The modification time of the files actually factors into the hash. So now I'm hard coding the times back to a certain time, and I'm hoping that makes it so that when the hashes, like when there hasn't been a change, that the hashes will come out the same. Because the problem that I was having was the hashes were different even when there was like no change, no actual change that I care about. So I think we want to merge this. It's gonna then make it so the next time I trigger the actions, we'll be able to see what the hashes of all the builds are. And then we can make a change that will not result in any change to any of the apps. And we can see if the hash matches or not. Because another weird wrinkle of this is I was getting different hashes building locally on my computer versus building in the actions container in GitHub. And at the end of the day, I don't really care about the hashes on my computer. We care about the hashes in the actions container because that's where it's going to run. Okay, so that's merged. I am going to wait for this to finish and then make a release. And then once we have a release, I'm going to make a different, like, inconsequential change and open a PR with it. And then we're going to be able to check whether the hashes match or not. And if they don't, then we will start digging and try to make them. And if they do, then it turns out that that date thing was all I needed. Basically, I put that date thing in and then have not actually really tested it. I put it in, noticed that there was a difference between my local one and the remote one, and I started doing other stuff after that, basically. Okay, so these ones were downloaded. So these it downloaded from the release page, and then these are the actual build that it just made right there. So this build should have PyDOS and everything in it, since we already merged that stuff now. And we're going to come back to this in a minute. So I'm just going to new tab that so that we can get back to it. And then I am going to make a change that will not result in any new anything different in the apps. How do we, is readme capital usually? How's the readme file? I never actually just make it manually. It's always made from cookie cutter. Is it shouty? Yeah, readme.rst. I'm gonna make a readme file, and then like we can just edit it whenever we need a change. I'm gonna call this like release check testing, because really that's what I'm trying to do. We're making a readme, we'll maybe fill it out as we go a little bit. But our true intention is running the actions and figuring out whether the hashes match between builds like they should when there's not a significant change. Add readme. And then I'm going to open a PR with that because that will trigger the action to run. So then we can compare. So the goal, ideally, these hashes should be the same. Oh, I didn't make a release. Did I need to make a release? I'm not sure. I might have needed to make a release. We'll see. Definitely these will still be old since we didn't make a release, but I think it doesn't matter, right? I think what I care about is the ones we built in the actions container after I merged the PR just a minute ago. Those should match the new ones with the new PR, because the new PR only changed README, and README doesn't get put into the OS. You could argue maybe it should. That's the thing. There's perhaps a discussion there, but it doesn't currently, so it should not result in a different hash. I don't know if that stayed highlighted the whole time. Probably did. Okay, there's that. D2C. Is that the same? Maybe. D2C. Yeah, 6688. 688. Okay. I think we might have done it. That's cool, actually. Kind of thought it was B3119. Yep. Let me check this one. D2C. Okay, so some of them, I noticed this the other day. Some of them are the same. So FruitJam ID, this hash is the same as this, is the same as this, the same as this. I think some of them, though, they use the same font file, but they might use like different glyphs from inside of it, right? I think that might be a thing. I don't actually know for a fact, though. Okay, but these do match, so that's a good sign. So I'm going to release a new release, which is going to upload builds. And then after that, I am actually just going to trigger that action to run again. And it should then match. The ones it downloaded and the ones it built should match, I think, at that point. Like, if they do, then we're on the right track. So these are all kind of like pre-releases. I think what we'll do is whenever the actual device is out and everything, we'll make a 1.0. Let's see. Added PyDOS. And starting release checker. Updater. Okay, so now we'll wait for the action to make a build and upload, and then after that's done, we can rerun the other one. It will then download the ones that are from the release page, and if everything works, then those hashes should match the ones that get built, as long as we didn't change any of the apps. And then, of course, if we did change an app, the hashes will not match. It will know that it needs to make a new one. So the ultimate goal here then again is this runs once a day, and whenever there's been a change to any of the apps, it will make a new build, just basically the exact same way the bundles do. I've been using the current release tab, 0.4, then compared to head. See, I've been using the current release tag 0.0.4, then compared to head, e.g. This shows, okay. All right, I can't copy. Oh, wait. Can I? No. No, I can only from the Discord program. Files, file name. Wait, so this shows you, this is the thing that shows you the difference, right? Like, oh, interesting. As JSON, though. Oh, because it's API. Oh, interesting. I didn't know you could do that. Okay, so that... Okay, I've seen the front end for this, right? Like, the front end is basically the links in the release. Interesting. You know, I guess it stands to reason there would be an API for that, too. But that's, so like the front end is like this. If you click this one, you can do head here, I'm pretty sure as well. But this is like a JSON one. So this could be useful, but one thing that I shy away from this for is there's lots of stuff that we don't necessarily need to trigger a new release, essentially. Like the README, for instance. If the README changes, assuming that we don't end up packing the README in the zip that gets bundled, like if that happens, then everything I'm about to say doesn't matter anymore. But assuming we keep it how it is now, the README's not in there. If we make a change to the README, we don't need to make a new release because because the bundle hasn't changed. The FruitJam OS bundle hasn't changed. And so really what I want is like to check the diffs, but like really only the apps, essentially. The apps, the launcher, the boot animation, those parts only. And even the meta stuff, like the build script, for instance, if the build script changes, but it changes in a way where the actual zips that it makes are the same, then we don't need a new release for that. If that makes sense. Could filter file names. Oh, there you go. Could work on file names. Well, it's tough to say though, because like BuildPy, for instance, we could filter on that, but the problem is BuildPy could change in such a way where it causes the zips to change. Like, let's say I figure out that I was not handling the libs properly for something, and I update BuildPy, and then now it's handling libs properly, so now the zips come out with correct libraries. That needs to trigger a release. But if I change BuildPy to just refactor something and the zips come out the same, then that one doesn't necessarily. And they're both as a result of a change in the same file. A bunch of the files would be a lot easier, though, to your point. Like all the apps, that would work fine for the launcher code, the animation code. Really, the only one that is trouble for is build, rather. Off the top of my head, at least, I think. Okay, so I made 5, and I think 5 did complete its action here. So let me I'm just gonna go back to my pull request and rerun this if I can. We could make another change if we need to. I think I can just go in here and like rerun. And this time the downloaded hashes should match the built hashes, I think. Yeah, zip comparison will avoid some unnecessary releases. It may be the case that this, like, we may still have trouble with this. And I'm not sure that well, to put it bluntly, I don't really like the thing I had to do with the dates. Is that U time? U date? I checked this out from main when I started. Wait, now I'm confused, actually. Hold on. Okay, nice. Hashes matched, no release required. Perfect. That is exactly what we want. But I am still confused about the other part, right? Like, why? Where's that date thing? I had to put that date thing in. Pi. I don't have the most up-to-date version. Update main. Merge main to this. Yeah, okay. Well, that's going. I'm going to run to the restroom real fast. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm looking forward to the first one of us that sends the PR to an LLM for review as part of the CI. BuildPy file would be a perfect example where it might not affect the outputs. Yeah, I think I saw a thing pop up in GitHub the other day. Something about that. They could do reviews now. Okay, so yeah, this I don't care for this that much. I don't like it that much, but it does seem necessary. Okay, we retriggered that workflow, and it did correctly show that no release was required. I am gonna push because I did merge. Apparently, I didn't start from main, so I'm gonna push. That's gonna rerun the workflow again, so we can like triple check. Oh, actually, because I merged main, it all changed. Actually, maybe if I hadn't merged main, then I might not have had PyDOS. Or at least not the latest version, which means actually we might need a change now, actually. Added to this branch cleanly. Still view the diff. Oh. But wait a minute, though, because if I did not have this code with this stuff, then how did the hashes match? Is this not necessary? But I swear this did not work the other day. I got 2 different hashes. I wish there was a scroll bar on this. Like, there's this scroll bar here, but it's fake. It doesn't do this. I cannot, like, there's no scroll bar for this. Oh, actually, there it is. I just couldn't see it. Oh, I can't use it, though. It's there, but you can't use it. Because this other scroll bar is in the way. Yo, dude, I heard you like scroll bars, so I put a scroll bar behind your scroll bar so you can't use it. That way you can't scroll bar while you scroll bar. Thanks. Is it the wrong size? Like, why is it seriously? This feels like broken, right? This can't be how it's supposed to be. It's annoying. Can I page down? There we go. Okay, that's confusing to me. The file name line ending. I don't think anything had changed. So the thing is, when I was getting different hashes, what I ended up doing was unzipping the files, and then opened the folder in Meld. Meld is like a diff checking software that lets you put 2 files side by side and it highlights the differences. And there were no differences in the 2 folders other than the modification times of the files, which Meld shows but doesn't like highlight as a difference. I think there was some. I think this was like using main still. I think this was like somehow using main, even though I hadn't merged it. I'm gonna choose not to wonder. Well, I'm gonna try to choose not to wonder about why the hashes came out the same if I hadn't merged main yet, and therefore didn't have the date stuff. I think the date stuff is necessary, but I will make a note of the fact that it did that. And I don't really like the date stuff, so what I'll do is, like, next week, I will try removing it and seeing if I get the same hashes or not in the server. Because maybe it's like a local thing. Maybe my local builds have that problem and the ones in the action container don't or something. See, but the problem is we don't want current, because current is going to be different from the release, right? Like, if we make the time current, then the timestamps that are in the ones embedded on the release page will be whatever time the release was made. And then the timestamps on the ones inside the actions container when it's checking would be whatever time that action is running. And because those would be different, the hashes would be different. So they like have to hard code to the wrong time they have to be the same time essentially. And I chose like CircuitPython epoch. Well, you could choose anything, I suppose. Really, what would be nice, the way I wish it could work is I wish the dates would be like the last time the file actually got changed in the repo. So like the library dates modification, those would be the last time that there was a release of the library. The CodePy for the editor, that would be like the last time that it got edited, like whenever that commit was merged or something. And then they would stay the same, but it's not actually how it works. Once you download them, they're the current time. Okay, I'm going to make this, I am going to switch the build, this one back to build only. And then I am going to make a daily release check. This is going to do that, but it's going to be cron instead of on pull. And I don't know off the top of my head how to do that, so I'm just going to go look in Python org. Should have one, I'm pretty sure. Oh, has this been? No, okay, that's good. Cron. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this works. I always do this cron. Is it cron calculator, I think? So yeah, that's kind of random. What is that? It's okay. Presumably that's UTC. That actually that's like 30 minutes ago. Or 15 my time. Is that right? No. One is in there. Update bundles? Update bundles. Huh. About cron? 12 hours ago. Oh. AM. Right. Right. AM. Because it's not 21, it's 9. Duh. Okay. Sense. When would we want FruitJam OS to go? Well, so 9:15 a.m. UTC. So that's like 12 hours from right now instead. Almost. That's like 4:15 a.m. my time. Currently. I think let's choose something different from CircuitPython.org. Because that one runs and it does take a while, so like I don't necessarily, they're not like competing directly for resources, I don't think, but it might be good to just like not have them go at the same time. So what if we just do like an hour before that, because FruitJam build should take only a minute or two, whereas this one takes like a whole hour because it uses up GitHub API requests. So if we just go 1 hour earlier than that. Okay. And then for this one, I do want it to run release updater. Okay. There's definitely a limit on agents per organization. The CircuitPython build eats most of them. I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I have seen it. I do see it vary sometimes. Like, sometimes it starts right away, and sometimes it sits on, like, waiting for job or waiting for worker for, like, several minutes. And I do know the CircuitPython core does a lot of action stuff, so makes sense if that chews through the time for a while, basically. Okay. Oops. Go. This is a side quest, but we'll do this real fast while we're here. Orpheus Pico, so we need to make sure that matches here. Orpheus Pico. And the main other thing really is, like, make sure the pictures are in. And I try to make sure the links are not, like, dead. Like, obviously they could go dead later, but... And make sure it's relevant as well, right? Like... There we go. That club is a different thing. And it does have... So features, that's actually a thing I forgot about until just now, but yeah, we want to do that. So breadboard, it is breadboard friendly. It does not have castellated pads. It does have USB-C. Is there a stemma? Is there a stemma feature? I thought maybe there was a stemma. I don't remember where to check for all the features though. All right, well... Oh, okay, I know how we can tell, actually. We can just go to downloads. So those are these filters here, features. There is stemma, actually. Is that actually a stemma? It looks like it, right? Oh, you know what? It's actually probably debug port, isn't it? I get tricked by that, right? It's only 3 pins inside there, I bet. Might not be stemma. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think you're right. Okay. Happy accident. I didn't really mean to come to this page, but been chilling here for a minute, so it's good to get it in too. We did our... And this is really where I was trying to get back to. Okay, so this ran out of curiosity. Let me check here. I mean, it should be the same hashes again, I believe, right? Yeah, we can't do that, so let's just... I swear, like, that seems broken. Oh, but I took... Yeah. So we can't look here because I changed build.yaml back to build py. So now... we basically merged the cron one, and then we have to wait until that actually would run. What's up, Ms. Swift over on YouTube? Thanks for tuning in, my friend. Not stream, a debug. Yeah, thank you. That's demo. Yes, or Steam, stemma, I think. Just stream with an R, I said a minute ago, but... Okay, so then tomorrow morning I can check back in and see it should run the cron one by itself, And tomorrow morning, there should be... Actually, I have to decide. Do I want to leave it? This is the choice we have, actually. Do I want to leave it where there's no change? The hashes should be the same, and it will print out that there's no release required. Or do I want to leave it with a change so that I can see the hashes differ? I think we leave it without a change first. I think we leave it with no change. I'll check it tomorrow. The next time I work on this, I'll push a change that will change the apps. I already know of a change that's necessary in the editor. The editor needs one of its imports updated. So what I'll do is I want to try one day with no change, make sure that works, and then I can do the change the next day, and then it should trigger. Yeah, that way we get at least, that way I can test one day. Because really I'm more, right now I'm like mostly concerned with making sure that it's not going to make a release when one is not needed. Yeah. So I'll do that change the next day after. Make a change to test. Yeah, I think I'll do it this way though. I'll do no change the first day, and then tomorrow or the next time I work on this, which might be tomorrow. I'm not sure if I may work on this during my stream tomorrow. We'll see if anything else catches my fancy in the morning, but then we'll make a change. Yeah, because I know the editor already. I was running into this earlier. The editor has the old apps. I'm in the wrong spot. The editor is actually inside of here, importing the wrong. This needs to be Adafruit argv file now. So this will be good. We can test both ways. You can make cron faster. That's true. I can make it faster, but ultimately I want it on a one-day cadence. If it doesn't work and I have to tweak the logic more, then I will probably temporarily make it faster so that I don't have to wait as long. But if I set it to a day and it turns out that it's actually working, then we can just leave it on a day, because that's ultimately how often I want it to run in the end. Just because, like, we don't necessarily need multiple releases in a day. It could be possible that, like, one thing changes in the morning and one changes the afternoon, and I guess we could do release in between, but, like, I think for the most part, just one per day with all the changes is fine. Basically the same way we do the bundle. But I will, to your point, I will totally change it to lower if it does not work, and if I have to. So, and I might do it either way, actually, because the next part of this still to do is the actual making of the release. So right now, it has is release required. This will return the Boolean true or false whether it needs a release based on the changes. But ultimately, there needs to be more code here that's like, if release, if it does need a release, then this should go and make the release as well, using the GitHub API, which is going to need tokens and all kinds of stuff. Sad workflow dispatch. What does that do? Flow dispatch. Let me look at that real fast. So we're going to wrap it up here in just a minute, but I'm curious. I don't actually know what this does. Yeah. Oh, is that like it's get out of my way. Why do people insist upon putting, like, this is like the hero text of the website. It's like the most important, biggest thing in the center, and they covered it up with this thing, and it drives me batty sometimes. I don't understand. Threw me completely off my game. Is it okay, so I was gonna say, is it just a way that you can like trigger it? So you would put that in here as well, basically? As one of these? Like not for build, but for this one? So currently we have cron, and I guess it could be a list, right? Like this other one was a list. Presumably we could have one cron and then one workflow dispatch. How do you trigger it? Is it just in the page? Repository dispatch, workflow dispatch. Well, surely you could trigger it with the API, I guess, but is there a way to trigger it in the UI? Like if you just go to actions, will there be a button or something that you can press to make it go? Okay, nice. Yeah, that's actually probably how I'll do it. That way I am not on a schedule at all, and I could just push the button, make it go, and then whenever everything is working fine, then we'll just remove the dispatch and leave the daily. Yeah, that's probably how I'll do it. Thank you for that, by the way. It's already there. Is it really? Oh, is it like just a, is it, you don't have to set it up? Oh, it is already there. Yeah, I'm not paying attention. Okay, so that's, okay, I see. That's how the list works. So then, I don't know, why are these... Okay. How can I... Okay, this is... We are basically at time. Oh, there's... Okay, I was about to say, how do I change the name? That's it right there. Yeah, we should change these. Should definitely change these. These all say release. These all say the same thing, which is making these all say the same thing, but they shouldn't. They should be different. Yeah, totally. All right, we are basically at time for now, though, so I am going to head out for the time being. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thanks to all the folks in the chats. I will be back over on my own channel tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Time. If you want some more CircuitPython action, check me out there. I usually put links in the live broadcast chat here on Discord when I'm about to start. So I will be back tomorrow morning for that. I will be back next week for the deep dive at the usual time, which is 6 p.m. No, 5 p.m. Eastern. We start at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Central. Yeah, whatever time that is in UTC, 2100 UTC. Have a good weekend. Yes, I will see you all tomorrow if you want some more, next week if you're just a deep diver. Thank you again, and we'll see you later.